We are recording. Connor, do you want me to share my screen with you?
I don't need you to share your screen. Oh, do you want to let me share my screen though? That I do need.
Well, wait a minute. It's my screen, right?
It is your screen, but I need you to give me permission to share my screen.
All right.
This is very convoluted set of permissions.
I know. Okay, I gave you permission.
Thank you, miss.
All right.
Jalen, we're just going to give students a few more minutes to trickle in here. I have some texting me, so we'll see what happens.
You have people texting you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, looks like they let off a bus. Hi, Angela. Hi, Ray. Who else do we have here? Nick.
Hey, everyone, can you, as you're coming in here, can you head over to Summit and open checkpoint 4? That's the checkpoint we're going to be working in today.
Do you want to share that checkpoint on the screen, Mr. Connor?
Sure. It should look like, well, it shouldn't actually say 3.5 is a typo, but it should say unlocking campaign advertisements, checkpoint 4. And you can get started. This one includes a political quiz that should work. So you can scroll down to part 1, section 1, and you can take the world's smallest political quiz. Please let me know in the chat or by giving me a thumbs up or something to let me know that it's working for you.
Hi, Ellie Beth. Nice to see you. And we have Rebecca Sanchez coming in. Nice group here today.
Mm-hmm. So folks, you should probably, you can see it on my screen. We are all working in checkpoint 4. And I'm putting it in the chat. So we're all working in checkpoint 4. And we right now should be working on we should be working on part 1, section 1. The world's smallest political quiz. And I know we had trouble with the political quiz 2 weeks ago. So I'm just asking everybody to make sure they let me know that it's working. So give me a thumbs up or a check yes or raise your hand. Thank you, Angela.
Anybody else having any problem with the quiz? I don't see any hands raised.
Be prepared. The green questions, those are for your own reflection. Be prepared to share out the question from the yellow box. And so far, I've only had Angela confirm that the quiz is working for her. So Ellie Beth, Jalen, K-Ray, Nick. All right, yes, Jalen, thank you. Thank you, Miss Sandy. You're in a new room, Miss. Maybe not.
Say that again.
Oh, it looked like Miss Sandy had switched rooms on us.
Just switch seats in the same room.
Oh.
Okay, so Rebecca, you're in. Ellie Beth, you're working on it. Jay Lynn. Angela was in. Hey Ray, are you in your quiz? Are you having any issues with it? You can put your answer in the chat. Just let us know that your quiz is working, please.
We're going to spend just about 2 more minutes on this, folks, and then be ready to share out your answer to the yellow question. You like the cartoon image? Nice. Is it the like RBG, like superhero inspired image?
No, I'll share my screen with you if you want when we're done, so I can show you what it looks like.
All right. Okay, folks, let's start sharing out. If you are comfortable just saying your answer out loud, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we had a lot of success last week with students posting their responses directly into the chat, so feel free to do that as well.
But
Remember, you
please
only need to
respond,
share your answer to the yellow question.
and please respond.
All right, so Angela said, I wasn't really sure what I was going to get, but I am not really surprised. I feel like my personal issues was going to be high in general. Okay. So what that means in terms of this quiz, Angela, is that like the personal issues to you are more important in the grand scheme of like American politics. Would you mind sharing, Angela, what some of the personal issues you identified as important to you are? And wondering if anyone else could share, Jalen or Ray, Nick or Rebecca. I only want to spend about 2 more minutes on this do now. Oh, yep. A question about immigration, Angela. So that's exactly the kind of like personal issue questions that I also probably would have scored very high in terms of personal issue. Right, and they're the things that like impact human beings, people's lives, but are not part of like, they're not like jobs necessarily, or spending by the banks or what have you.
Can I share my screen, Mr. and show you?
Sure, I will stop sharing. Oh no, here we go.
I don't know if students got, like, I didn't scroll down until just a minute ago and I got this cool paragraph about who I am here. So students, did you guys get this like cool picture of like yourself as you're in your stance? Like I got this cartoon person with scales like of judgment or equity or equality. I actually thought some of the questions were confusing and put maybe more than I might have otherwise, but some of the questions I had to read 3 times. But then I got this cool paragraph that tells me about myself, that I generally embrace freedom of choice and personal matters. I advocate, which means I promote or am for support government intervention to control the economy and redistribute wealth, which is true. I'm okay with alternative lifestyles, government funded safety net to help disadvantaged or reduce inequality. I just thought this was like a really nice, I'd support strict environmental regulations, think the government should actively promote equal opportunity, but I want limits on free expression, like racist expression. I want there to be like, I don't want that to be, I was on the fence about censorship, but I thought this kind of paragraph at the end was really helpful to help me understand the questions that I answered, like summarize it for me.
Did anybody
It
else?
actually, it even says that on there, Miss, that you want to like censor speech that is related to, that is thought to traumatize victims of past injustice.
Yeah, that's pretty good from like a 6-question quiz or whatever that was.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a personality test also, I guess.
Did
Yeah.
But
anybody else get a similar synopsis that they would like to share?
I want to see what other people's cartoon person looks like. I liked my cartoon person because I like the symbol of this, the justice scales. What did you guys get?
Like to remind everybody that participation is important. We do not request that you put your camera on, but we do ask that you at least, at the very least, respond to us in your chat.
It's true. Miss Sandy is right, because it's either the next 43 minutes of listening to me talk, which will bore you to tears, or the next 43 minutes of us all sharing our thoughts and ideas with each other.
And the other thing is, if we don't see you and we don't hear from you, the assumption is that maybe you're not really here. So if attendance is important to you, participate. Thank you.
We do have to move on. So if we could all scroll down on our checkpoints to the next section. It starts with an image of the Cambridge Analytica logo, which is this like kind of map of the brain. can you just give me a thumbs up or raise your hand or let me know in the chat when you are on this section? Thank you, Angela. I don't want to start this section until I have just about everybody confirm that they're there. Thank you, Miss Sandy. Thank you, Ellie Beth. Thank you, Jalen. Ray or Nick or Rebecca, I haven't heard from you yet. Just don't want you to fall too far behind. Okay. So for those of you who are on the video with us now, we're going to watch it together on my screen. And then I'll give you about 5 minutes afterwards to answer the 3 questions. And just like before, the question in green is for yourself to help your reflection. And the questions in yellow are the answers I'm going to ask you to share out. Before I click play here, Cambridge Analytica is a advertising. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Is an advertising firm that has created a new strategy for politicians, and they'll explain what they do in this quick 2-minute video.
Running the most TV spots, sending out the most direct mail, or spending the most money. They're about who spends the smartest money. In today's political world, where campaigns are getting more expensive and elections are won by small but crucial numbers of votes, putting the right message in front of the right person at the right moment is more important than ever. This is where Cambridge Analytica and our revolutionary data modeling techniques can help. Traditional political campaigns use geography and demographics like age and gender to break down voters into target groups. This can work up to a point, but it misses the important personal details that really drive voter behavior. We combine geographic and demographic information with up to 5,000 data points of national, political, consumer, and lifestyle behavior for every voter in the United States. Then we add a unique extra layer of data about personality, decision-making, and motivation. This creates an unparalleled, rich, and detailed view of voters and the issues they care about, so you know exactly who to target with exactly what type of message. We call this behavioral micro-targeting. Our team of data scientists, psychologists, and campaign experts can show you which individual voters you need to win over in order to secure victory. From highly targeted direct mail, digital and TV advertising, driven by advanced data analytics and online tracking, to good old-fashioned phone banking and door knocking, we can help you understand your voters like never before, move them to action, and get the votes you need to win. Our techniques are working across the globe, from local elections to the US 2016 presidential race, because no matter the shape or scale of the race, Cambridge Analytica can help you run more cost-effective campaigns that reach more voters and deliver more votes. At Cambridge Analytica, we are creating the future of political campaigning.
Okay. So let's, well, I guess I can keep sharing, but I'll close this. So there's 3 questions now in response to this video. The question in green, like I said, is about what the video is about, and is to help set up and help you reflect on answering these last 2 questions. What do you wonder about this type of advertising strategy, and what kind of problems do you think this strategy could cause? Remember, I'm going to ask you to share out your answers to the 2 yellow questions. And I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that. So we'll all come back at 1:27 and share our answers to what do you wonder about this type of advertising strategy, And what kind of problems do you think this strategy could cause? Keep in mind as you're doing this, there are no right or wrong answers to those two questions for sure. It is all about your own thoughts and your own opinions. If you're lost and don't know where you are, you can just privately message myself or Miss I and we'll get you right back on track. You should have plenty of time to watch it again on your own, like Miss Sandy is, if you think that would be useful to you. We have just about 1 more minute here. And I'd love to hear from Nick and then Jalen on what you wonder about this advertising strategy. So feel free to share verbally, or you can just copy and paste your answers right into the chat. Just about 30 seconds left. We should be finishing our thoughts. Okay. Let's think first a little bit about what that question in the green box asks. And then Nick, I'm going to ask you to share what you wonder. And Jalen, I'm going to ask you to share what you wonder about this advertising strategy. In the video, they use the phrase micro targeting. Could anyone give me a quick explanation of what they think the term, based on what we watched, or just the term itself, what micro targeting means?
I can try if no one else wants to jump in.
Okay, thank you, miss.
This is why I watched the video twice, because I don't use these terms and words every day. So I had to really look at it again and what I think I understood. And students, it'd be great to hear you guys say yes in the chat if you understood this or help me explain this. So micro, I know, means small, and targeting is obviously targeting. You're trying to direct it at somebody. And one of the first things they said that stood out to me was, we want to help you get the right message in front of the right person at the right moment. And all like that they're using so much information about me, that geographic, demographic, personality, like, so I'm being watched. So many data points are being gathered about me, not people like me, but like me. So that I, as a mom of a daughter of someone who has my child in this school and not that school, who lives where I live, who does what I do for work, that it's highly targeted toward individual data points that they have about me. That's what I understood. Did you guys get that, students? Does that feel like your understanding of what this company does?
If I could give a very concrete example of that from this morning. So this morning, I made a student loan payment. And then when I checked Facebook before class started, the first advertisement on there was for a cancel student debt political group. Right. So of all the like analytics about Connor Sheehan there are in this world, one of them is clearly targeted to student loans. And so this morning, they know that I probably in my browser history went to Sallie Mae. They probably assume that because I'm 35 years old, I'm out of college and making student loan payments as opposed to getting student loans. They probably assume that I'm inundated with student loan debt. And they know all of these things about me just because I opened salliemae.com this morning. And then they'll send an ad about canceling student loan debt directly to my own Facebook so that they can get me right after I just paid Sallie Mae. And that was what Miss Sandy was talking about, right? Getting the right message to the right person in the right moment. That's when I'm sitting here and I see my balance of over $100,000 on Sallie Mae, and I'm like, oh yeah, we really do need to cancel student loans. I get an advertisement for canceling student loans.
You'd probably make a donation at that point, right?
And then it does ask me to make a donation. But if it was, if I had done the same thing in October, it would have said vote for Joe Biden. If I had done the same thing in April, right, in May during the primary season, it would have been a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren ad, as those were the two who were really trumping. Trumping is not the word I should use in this moment of time.
That's not a good word.
They were the ones who were really trying to message that we need to cancel student loan debt. So that's what they're talking about. What Nick and Jalen, I'm wondering if you could share either out loud or in the chat what you wonder about this type of advertising strategy. Mm-hmm. maybe we could think about it even a little bit more simply. Is this something that you like, something you don't like? And Ellie, Beth, and Angela, I'll open it up to you as well.
Maybe we can change the question a little bit and ask if anybody feels that this is maybe violating your personal information somehow, or just invading your
I'm
privacy.
still here. I'm just typing.
Oh, okay.
You can talk too. It's more efficient.
No, yeah, but my nephew, like, he just starts screaming out of nowhere, so it's like I'd rather type
We
it.
don't mind. We don't
Okay.
mind.
I have a kid too. It's all right.
We're used to that.
Not that he's.
But I was saying that I feel like it's a smart way for them to get information on people, but like us as like people that don't know that, like me, I didn't even know that. But it's like that's a way that they could take advantage of people that like sometimes in politics, like they lie about certain things, like, so that's like a way to use it, I guess.
Mhm.
You think it's an invasion of privacy, Angela?
Yeah.
Could you expand a little bit, Angela, on like you said politicians can lie about things? And I think, while I am definitely a person who believes like in honest statesmanship, like there's definitely a lot of people who feel that like politicians are just lying or like blowing smoke all of the time. Do you see this strategy as one that either, how do I want to say this? Like, do you think it makes politicians like sort of how you phrased it as lying? Like, could they be more effective with that now? Or do you think it becomes harder for them to do that?
I feel like it makes it easier for them because them knowing all that information about like what a certain amount of people are like more into, or like what they more people like to vote for them, they'll try to say something like that, like something that that group of people are into, and then like it just.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think it's a really good point, right? Is that like if they, regardless of who is running for what, if they know that I am someone who cares about canceling student loan debt, all they have to do is tell me that they are the candidate who's going to try to cancel student loan debt, and I'll probably vote for them.
Yeah.
And we ran into that a lot, I think, in the 2016 election, where Donald Trump was able to convince a lot of people that like he was the guns candidate and he was the pro-life candidate and he was this like America first candidate. And so if you were someone who that was important to, he targeted you and you felt you had to go out and vote for him. And so Angela, I think you did a really good job like talking about what are the problems that this strategy could cause.
Can I share a wondering, mister?
Can you
I
say
wonder,
that?
is it like, when does it become illegal? Like how wide is the legal range of information that they can collect about me? Like, am I just not reading the thing on my iPhone that tells me what it's telling everyone? Like, or is there an obvious place that's like, yeah, that's too far. Like you can't use that data point, but you can use these.
Well, there's freedom of information and there's things that are in the public domain. For instance, I understand that if you Google something or you buy something, you become part of a mailing list. That's okay. So they're going to target that, you're interested in certain types of shoes, or maybe you're hiking. So there's a lot of ways to gain information with a little bit of information.
Mhm.
As to whether it becomes illegal, I don't know where that begins and ends. Morally, it could be questioned.
Right. Yeah.
I think we're like absolutely, not that I want this to devolve in just the teachers talking to each other, But we are in a place where technology is moving faster than the law in of itself. So it comes down, it's like a moral question. And Miss I believe you are correct that internet histories and GPS locations are completely up for grabs. And so that's actually, as I understand it, how like, you know, when two people meet each other and they're talking about something, and then when they leave, like Miss I and I were talking about, I don't know, let's say we're talking about Raya and the Dragon, the new movie that dropped on Disney Plus, right? We were chatting about that, and then we go our separate ways, and Miss I gets a commercial for Raya and the Dragon. It's not that our phones were recording us, it's that our phones somehow through their GPSs knew we were next to each other and assumed that maybe that came up, and so they're going to send us both an ad for it.
Mhm.
I have a question for the students. And I know you want to shift down, so I'll just make this quick. But like I wonder if younger people are more okay with that.
Mm.
Like, are you guys more comfortable with like, okay, yeah, they can know what sneakers I looked at. Okay, they can know where I ordered food from. They can know where I drove. Like every time I get a new app, if it has nothing to do with GPS, it's like it wants to know my location. I'm like, why on you don't need to know my location. So I have like an immediate no, you can't. But I wonder if younger people are like less phased by that amount of like oversight or curiosity about your life. Like if you guys want to pop in the chat or say it out loud, I'd be so curious if you feel more comfortable with this than maybe I do or my dad does, or if it bothers you also that they're collecting all this data about you every time you do anything on your phone or the internet.
It bothers you a little bit, Angela? When Jalen or Ellie Beth, oh, Jalen, oh, said it to me, thinks that it's creepy. It's definitely creepy, Jalen, for sure.
I agree.
It's spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I get all the time is whenever my car is parked somewhere for more than like 30 seconds, Google will ask me if I want to review the place that I was parked in front of.
Ooh.
You
Yeah.
need to turn off your location stuff, mister.
I guess so. All right, so let's look at this next video here. Is from Kathy O'Neill, and she's a data scientist, and she's going to talk about why she feels that micro-targeting is bad. Specifically, why it's bad for democracy.
Political campaigns have enormous profiles built on every voter. And they do all these tests in small groups, right? The end result being that they send different stories to different people. If a libertarian candidate, Gary Johnson, if he had a profile on me, he would probably figure out that we both want to break up the big banks. And he would send me an ad saying, hey, let's break up the big banks, vote for me. And I'd be like, hey, yeah, I want to break up the big banks. And I might vote. If I went to his website, he would have me trailed with cookies, and he would still show me what he wants me to see. So what's the point being that what's efficient for campaigns is inefficient for democracy. The best thing for democracy is for everyone to say what their platform is, and for us to see it all and to decide. But micro-targeting in political campaigns is the opposite of that. They decide what to show us.
Okay. So Kathy O'Neill here is saying that micro-targeting is bad for democracy because it prevents you as a voter from understanding the entirety of a person's platform. And this is what I was talking about with Donald Trump. Donald Trump convinced people who are pro-gun that he was a pro-gun candidate. Nothing else from his campaign mattered. Right? If you are someone who is pro-life, Donald Trump convinced you that he was a pro-life candidate, and he made it so that nothing else mattered. And Kathy O'Neill's point is this is bad for democracy because we don't understand the entirety of that person's campaign, what that person stands for, how that person is going to vote on anything than the one subject that we maybe have in common. So I'm going to give you about 3 minutes right now to answer those 2 yellow questions, and then we'll share our thoughts. So at one, why don't I give you 3 minutes? At 1:47, we'll come back and share our thoughts on those 2 questions in the yellow boxes. It's a quick video, so if you need to watch it, get on your screen, feel free to do so. I also put a quick summary for that green question in the chat. Just about 1 more minute here. Okay, let's Angela or Jalen, could you share with me your answer to that first yellow question? Do you think it's wrong for politicians to use technology to direct specific advertisements towards specific groups? Or do you think it's appropriate? And you can share your answers out loud or just copy and paste them right into the chat.
For me, I feel like it's kind of like both
Mm.
because it's like it's wrong, but like some people they like if that's the way that they're gonna get to like people to vote for them, like they ought to do it. but at the same time, like it's like mm, is wrong because like what if it was being done to them? Like how would they feel about it?
Mhm, mhm.
Type of thing.
So you're like, do you feel like you're in the middle here, Angela, or do you think it's more wrong than it is the right thing to do?
I feel like I'm more in the more wrong than right, but it's like kind of in the middle.
Is it like morally wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's pick that apart a little bit. Like what do you see is the benefit of using technology the way that they do? Like for you as a voter, how do you think it helps you?
For me, in a way, as like if for people who vote, I don't really see it as like a good thing for them
Mhm. Okay.
because yeah.
So it's more like it's just a good thing for it's like a good strategy for the politicians is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Do you think so in thinking about it from the lens of the voter, Angela, like what do you think is most dangerous about it? And would you, I guess first, like, do you think dangerous is a good word for me to use when talking about micro targeting? Or is that like going too far?
I feel like it kind of is like in like you could describe it as that,
Mhm.
but also um hold on, let me think of how I'm gonna say this. Um what was the
Jalen, I
question?
would ask you the same question too. Do you think dangerous is a inappropriate word to use for micro targeting, or am I making like too big of a deal out of it?
So now I remember. So it's like it's kind of is because like people are putting their information on there without them really knowing like what like certain people do know, but like another percentage of people don't know what they're gonna do with that information.
I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Jalen, do you have any thoughts you want to add before we move on to our final piece here? Okay. Do you agree with Angela, or do you think micro targeting is just like the sort of it's okay and it's like the next step in political campaigns? You agree with her? Yeah. Okay. Um, all right. We only have a few minutes left, and I want to do two things. The first is introduce this analysis toolkit. So all of our checkpoints moving forward are going to have this toolkit included on it. And this will be a table of examples of choices that ad makers make. In my head, we were all going to fill this out together, and it was going to be this beautiful like project that we all worked on and shared with each other. But I think what I will do in the next couple of days is update it with a few more choices. We're going to do that right now. All right. If we remember from our reset checkpoint here, we looked at a couple of ad campaigns, and the one I want to look at right now is Biden's backbone ad. And so I'm going to take these choices that I identified for us that the ad maker made, and I'm going to put them into this table that we'll be able to use as a tool throughout the rest of this project. All right, so let's look at, I like this one down here, right? Where the ad uses alliteration, right? Backbone, build back better, Biden. He's using that B sound over and over again. So I'm going to go to where is it? my political analysis toolkit, I'm looking at the 2020 backbone ad, and I need to identify my rhetorical choice. Now, I am not actually an English teacher, so I don't know the formal names for all of these rhetorical choices. So I put a list here for you to use, or for us to use. What just happened? There we go. And I'm going to think about my choice and which one of these devices I think it fits best with. And I cheated a little bit. And we're going to go down here with repetition, right? So he uses repetition, right? And they repeat the B sound throughout the ad. Now, in our reset checkpoint, we identified who he was appealing to, but now we need to think about why would the ad maker make that choice? So anyone, could you share with me why you think Joe Biden would repeat the B sound throughout his ad? And there are probably there's not like a single solution here. There's not a single answer. I don't know if you're trying to talk, Angela, but you're muted. You can share your thoughts in the chat as well.
That's just me putting the question in there.
You
Before
got
you
me
get
so
excited.
I'm so excited, Miss Sandy.
I know. Sorry. Don't overthink it, I would say. This is not a time for overthinking.
Yeah.
I see Ellie Beth on that document. She just jumped on there.
Mm-hmm. Someone else is here with me too. I think very simply, B for Biden, yes, right? B is for Biden, right? And that B, so the repetition just makes like it easy to remember. And so that's what we're going to do is I'm going to try to build a couple out, and we'll probably work on a couple together in the next few weeks here, so that by the time you get to your final product, you'll be able to refer to this big list of choices, all of these examples that you have seen, and why the ad makers have made those choices. In our last 3 minutes, what I'm going to ask everyone to do, and if you were here last week, it's going to be a repeat, and I'm sorry, but if you could go back to the project page, so it's the one that looks like this, right, that has all of the checkpoints on it. See what checkpoints you owe, what checkpoints you have done, and you're going to text either me or Miss I how many checkpoints you have left to do. And if you have 2 or more, I'm going to encourage you to also set up a time to meet with us in office hours. So just take the last 2 minutes of class to review what you still owe from work and set up an office hours time with me or Miss I if you need it. I do have my trusty cell phone right here.
And I have mine.
Maybe it's collecting data about you right now.
And Jalen has already texted me. Thank you, Jalen. Jalen, you are all set for class. I will respond to you a little bit and we'll set something up, okay?
So I did send out a blast earlier this morning. It's an announcement on the summit page to work hard at completing your checkpoints.
Mhm.
So check it out, go into your summit and see where you are at in that equation, and come and see me or make an appointment with Mr. Sheehan. Let's get them done.
Yeah. And Angela and Ellie-Beth, I just got your text, so you are all set and we will be in touch, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, girls.
Bye, ladies.
See you on Thursday.
Thank you for your participation. We really appreciate it. As you can see, it's really important that we have student voices or students in the chat. So thank you.
Is it just us?
Just us.
All right, I'm going to stop recording.
Yes, let's do that.